What's up, everyone? This is Anon. None of this is financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. And we'll be talking about Aterian today. So let me go ahead and pull up some stuff for you guys so we can kind of go over it. Here we go. We'll send out. Oh, we got some people coming in now. First, what's up? Is it KB? Or Kabi? What's up, dude? Or what a day for a change. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, we were green in a red market, so not too bad. All right. So what's up, Tom? What's up? Was it Hayden? We will be talking about Aterian today. Welcome to the Aterian class, the master class, right, Sam? What's up, Dustin? Yep, the second one. Oh, there's Just Investor. What's up, Random? How was work? It was good. I was going to say I had to run out a couple places, but I think I got some things done that I needed to. I did not get done my DD that I was really going to try to work on. Got busy at work, so trying to work it all out. But we'll kind of catch up now and see what I can do and get everything pushed out, hopefully tomorrow. Share your wisdom, hold our paper hands. You guys are funny. All right. I think we'll throw it out on Twitter also. Apparently I'm supposed to do all the social media stuff, I guess. Hold on a second. Let me find. Where's my Chrome? Excuse me. All right. Twitter. Supposed to throw out the links. All right. Here. I'm really bad at social media. I don't really know what I'm doing. We'll just say live stream. All right. There we go. I put it on Twitter now, I guess. I don't even know how many people. What's my Twitter doing? Wow. I only had like 23 followers, and I haven't really been paying attention. Now I've got like 500. That's cool. But yeah, I don't really pay. I'll be honest, the only reason I post on Twitter is because it's linked to my Reddit, and so when I post things on Reddit, it automatically sends it off to Twitter if I click a box. So that's as much contribution as I really get. All right, let's see. All right, what's up, Chris? What's up, Nitro? What's up, Fish? Jonathan? Ezekiel? Is it Hayun? What's up, dude? Aloha vibes. All right, what a day. Yes, Anon had his own mini AM run, clearing some T3s. Yeah, I was going to say, it looked like there was some buying pressure. I don't know if that was one of the whales that said that he was going to be buying in the morning. I think I told you guys yesterday that somebody wrote me and said that he and his buddy were going to go ahead and buy some shares. I was like, well, you don't need to tell me, but that's cool. I appreciate it. And he was like, yeah, we just, he's like, we're holding strong. We think there's something to this. He's like, something's going on here. And I mean, if you can actually kind of see it. The actually on balance started going up again. It wasn't like a huge uptick, but I mean, it was going in a downward trend, and now it's starting to come back up as of yesterday. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. But, Sergio said, good afternoon, and I'm glad I didn't paper hand and average down. Yeah, I mean, it's the one thing I want to kind of reiterate to people is, when you're sitting there and you're talking about, let's take a look at the RSI real quick. Am I missing the RSI? I am on this one. No, it's down here. Okay, sorry. This is on the daily, right? So when the RSI is down here, this is typically, especially on the daily, this is when things are oversold. And so, this is when you want to typically buy, like you don't sell when you're down here. This is when you buy. Just, when your MACD's stretched out like this and you're, I think I have it set up on the other one. When your stochastic's way down here, this isn't when you sell. Like, even if you want out of the stock, you don't sell down here. You wait till it comes back into a normal range and then you can sell. But like, that's the difference between retail. When they just watch the price, they just go, oh my God, this is going to zero. And it's not going to. Like, look at companies like Amazon. Like, they're not, they can fall and they can, bleed, and they're going to in this market. The market's right now terrible. Like, there's the SPY right now. Yeah, like, we had some rallying at the end of the day, but like, for the most part, we're definitely in a down channel right now, and we have not broken that yet. So, there's more downside. I mean, when you think about, there are gaps on the SPY that were left from back in, I think it was like around here. Was this about the election time? I think it was right here. So if you look on the daily, right, there are gaps all up and in here. Like, and that's in the like 350 range. So this is the whole thing, right? So everyone felt really bearish around here. This was like leading up to the elections. Like, it was like October, November was the election coming up, right? And everybody was getting really bearish. And what did the SPY do? There were all these puts in place, and when the SPY just gapped up every single day and just moved up. It was like, I want to say it was like 5 straight gap up days, and they just burned all those puts. And, now what will probably end up happening is, at some point, everyone's getting really, really bearish. We'll probably at some point pull up. Now, granted, there's a lot more going on now. There's definitely some bad things going on, but they'll probably just have another, like, maybe a dead cat bounce, but they'll do something where it'll push up, and that way it burns a bunch of people's puts, because that's how the market works. It's, what's in it for now. Yeah, so a bunch of people were posting about this this right here, the extreme Hurst ratio. I guess, they were saying that the bottom, or the extension bottom right now, is ranked like 98th. It should be turning around, basically. It's just showing you that we're extremely right now pushed down, and that goes along with what I'm saying is, you don't sell when it's here. You sell when it's, this is not when you sell. Like, when it gets oversold like this, that's not when you sell. So that's a SPY. That's not Aterian. Let's go back to Aterian. So remember, I told you guys we're getting down in this range. We're pretty far down. We're pushed down. And I told you that I was expecting this next fan to be a little bit bigger. And it was about the same size. So that means to me that this will probably start closing off if they can kind of balance it out and even just stay sideways. Because it looks like on the stochastic right there, it's starting to cross over here, which means that we should see now smaller on the oscillator on the MACD, and we should see maybe some increased volume coming up in the near future. All right, so let me go back to the notes. What's up, Mason? What's up, Drake? What's up, Jeff? He's been chilling with a beer. All right. Well, he said bear first, but he said he corrected himself and said beer. What's up, D? What do you think our chances of getting a nice pop during Tuesday, Wednesday, after the FTD reports on Monday? I mean, I guess it depends on what the FTD reports say. Remember, like, the FTDs will cover basically from the I think it was like it would be the 16th on. It would be the 16th basically till May, like the end of like April. But because we didn't, that was a weekend, so we would have the 18th, which will probably be high. The 19th will probably be high. But remember, this is when people started selling. Like there were some paper hands in here. There were people that were taking profit. So my guess would be the numbers will start coming down in here, and they'll come down at least to this point, because there's definitely some selling that happened in this range. Now, this will be the interesting one that comes out on the 15th of May, right? Is that, or the 16th of May is the end of April, but the one that's for the end of May, I guess, will cover the beginning of May. So that one will be interesting, because this is when the tree shake really started happening. And I told you guys we'll have to see what happens at 11 o'clock if we're still on Reg Show. But I showed you an image of AMC. And AMC typically, because, you know, I think your average AMC person, when it was running up, they weren't sure what was going to happen, and so there was a lot more retail that was inexperienced, I think, versus like GameStop had already kind of gone through it. AMC people, when the stock ran, there was a lot of people that honestly didn't quite understand how any of this stuff worked, and they were just buying the popcorn stock, and the next thing they know, it ran up to 70, and they weren't sure what was going on, and so there was a lot more, like, I think, confusion in that community, because it just wasn't as organized as, like, GameStop had, like, Super Snock and, like, all these, like, people who were putting out really good due diligence. And I think I was reading through the AMC stuff, and it was like, well, we'll just copy everything. Now they've gotten their own people, and they've kind of gotten some better information out there now, but in the beginning it was kind of like they were just basically borrowing everything, it seemed like, from like GME and Super Snock, because that was the only blueprint they had. But we're gonna find out later on. It looks like as of right now, here's Wednesday, this will come out, I guess, at like 11 o'clock, so we'll see if Aterian's still on there, and if it is, then the game's still on. If it's not, then it'll probably be another 5 days, and it'll be back on there again. Because I think you saw some buying today. I definitely noticed there was buying pressure, and something that would probably confirm that I haven't looked at today would be, So if you look, for example, like it was over 50%. That's kind of what I was expecting. There was actually some buying pressure that was allowed on there, because my guess was they covered at least some. I don't know if they covered, the 3 million they claimed, but they definitely did buy something, because I think there was a T plus, that they had to basically go in on. That was probably the morning, but we'll see a lot more of those coming up. Now, if you notice, we're almost, over the last 30 days, it's almost 60% is going off exchange, which is highly unusual. Like, that's not normal. Let's see. Excuse me. Let's see if I can pull this up real quick. Yeah, so like just to point out to you like what's normal. So like Apple's another popular retail stock. A lot of retail buys Apple, and they're at like 40%, and they're over their course they're like less. So like that's one. What's another one that people like? AMD. See, AMD is another popular retail stock. A lot of their stuff's getting pushed off exchange. And this is what's typical. Anything that's popular with like retail, you'll find that a lot of the volume is going off exchange. Yeah, like here's one that's popular with institutions. But retail came around a little bit, but I think they've pretty much exited for the most part as the stock prices dropped. I actually like Big Bear long term. I think they're going to be a good company down the line. But if you notice, like once retail kind of loses interest, that number really drops. but retail got interested for a while, and then that's why they had a lot of volume going off exchange. So that's just something you can look at if you want. Chart Exchange is one of the places. There's a couple different ones that do that, but all right. Then we got Kyle says, what do you think are... Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's possible we get a nice little pop. We'll see. All right, can we get Bad Ed to come in for the live stream? That dude's a beast. He's holding $6 million plus in shares, or $6 million worth of shares. Yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to try to see if he wants to come talk to us, that's fine. Obviously, he's done quite well for himself if he's got $6 million that he's just kind of chilling with. But I think he's going to be richly rewarded, especially buying down at this level. Like, I think he's entered in this area, I think, if I remember correctly. He entered somewhere in this area and then entered some in here, and now he's, averaging down probably. But yeah. Casing just woke up. Did we moon? Not yet, but I mean, we did finish the day, after hours at like 3:08, so we're above 3. So it's something. It's not, they'll push it down in the morning, but it is what it is. All right. So thank you for taking the time to do this. Yeah, I mean, I just built it into the day now. I'm just gonna come down and talk to you guys and answer questions when I can and see if that helps people out. Good day. What's up, Vlad? Like and subscribe. Yeah, if you can do that, that'd be great. I don't typically ask very often, but you guys kind of remind me, so thanks for that. Can you dig all the way... Wait, can you dig into the way they walked it down after the dip? Toots dropping positions today or a little bull trap? Wait, after the dip. All right, let me take a look at the chart real quick. Okay, so it's a little bit kind of hairy. All right, so you're saying how do they walk it down, I guess? When you say the dip, you mean the spike? Like, how do they walk it down from up here? Or, no, I've got to go to, hold on, let me pull up YouTube, because... see if you've answered that. Okay, yeah, spike. Sorry. Yeah, so what ended up happening is this. They probably ended up covering. So what you saw was like, it seemed like they just kept buying. And so what they were doing was they're probably closing out something that they had to just get done. And they were like, we'll just short it down later. So obviously this could also be day traders. At one point, I think this is about when we hit 10%. So like in this range, this is about 10% up. For the day. And so what they ended up doing then is they obviously had some people that just did profit taking. So maybe swing traders, they came in, saw some volume coming in, saw the price just getting walked up, and they were like, somebody's covering, let's just slap the ask with them. And once they kind of got to the top, they saw it kind of, I mean, you can see we were overbought at this point right here. Came down, they started this again, and then people started taking profit, at least the swing traders did. And you can kind of see this was starting to cross over, back over on the MACD, so you knew they were going to move it down. So, and then the rest of this was probably just them bleeding off, like adding some shorts, because the volume died down. If you notice, like, there was decent volume all throughout here, and then the volume kind of died right around here, and that's when they started bleeding it off. You send that could have been a spoof, or it could have just been, but once you get that going, the volume starts dying down, and then this is where they actually had some selling. So they actually sold in this range right here. That's when they brought it right back down to the 292 level. And then this is towards the end of the day, if I remember correctly, right? Or is that midday? No, that was midday. Okay, so climb back up. This is probably them covering again. You have to remember, they cover and then they short. And their goal is they cover more than they short. And they don't always have to short. They can also bid whack, or there could just be, the reason why the free float changed, my guess would be, is remember there was those couple days that we had that it seemed like let me pull up Fintel so you guys can see what I was talking about. It seemed like that the short interest dropped a lot, and it seemed weird because it seemed like kind of out of place, because we were getting like 60% short every single day for a while, and then all of a sudden there were like days that we were getting 30% short, but the price was dropping, and I think that just was basically chalked up to here it is. Pull this over for you guys. So I still haven't updated that. That's weird. Yeah, so like over here, notice this. So like there were all these days right here when the stock was going down, but the short interest really wasn't that high. So they were only shorting like 30, 35, like 40% basically, when they were shorting previously before that like 60% every single day when we were like running. Like, so what ended up happening, I think, was somebody back in this range, back in like early like May, before the earnings came out, which was this day, somebody was selling. You know, did they get rumor that they were going to miss on, you know, earnings, or, you know, who knows what they, you know, but, or somebody was just like, you know, I want to get out before earnings because I'm not sure how this is going to go. And there's going to be, you know, people that, you know, use common sense and go, all right, well, you know, the market's been kind of crappy, and, you know, we've got like, you know, a couple $1 million invested in this, you know, should we pull it out now, buy back in later if we, you know, if we still like the stock, you know, we'll see what they say, you know, after earnings. So there's a lot of stuff that can happen. And the stock price, you know, was, what was it back then? Early, if I go back to the daily. Let's see, what was it on early? So on the 1st through here's May. So basically the stock price was at like 5 something. And so this is when I think they started basically selling in this range. And that's why you had all these, if you look, and it correlates directly with what you see here. Excuse me. You know, the 5th, so it was the 29th, which was this day. So there was some profit taking that day. They've sold some this day, and then they really started taking, you know, these particular days were the ones that they, you know, didn't have to short much because it seemed like somebody was selling in that range. And so they may have sold probably like 2 or 3 million shares is my guess. I don't know. That's just like a ballpark I'm throwing out there. But because I think what we saw was on the Ortex data. Let me see if I can pull up Ortex real quick for you guys. On the Ortex data, we saw the free float change today. And so sometimes these guys get the 13, or they don't get like 13Fs before us, but they get like live information from like a Bloomberg that, you know, that basically if you're rich, you get better information than everyone else. If you're like, you know, poor retailers like us, we don't get as good information as everybody else. But we did see more inflow than outflow, and we can only kind of like guess. But the free float went from 26.27 million to 28 million. And I'll show you guys what that looks like. So that's why if you notice on the Ortex, like the data, even though it seemed like they, you know, were at like 50% on the exchange reported data, I think some institutions sold, so therefore it changed the float, the free float at least. All right, so I'll take a screenshot of that. Hold on, I want to. I'm going to add utilization because it's been many, many, many days with 100% utilization. And we're going to put up the threshold. Let's do. All right. All right, so I'm going to screenshot this real quick. I'm going to paste it for you guys, and then we'll bring it over so you can see it. Because Vortex does that thing where they like put your initials up, and Same thing with like when I'm doing like the options chains, because I'm not using like a third party. I'm using my broker. I don't want to have my brokerage stuff up there. So, all right, copy and all right. Let's see if we can see. Hopefully you guys can see that. So they're saying that they returned 3.5 million shares. I don't know if they returned that many, but we're still right now about, yeah, see, some of this stuff doesn't add up if you actually look at it. Like it's right here, right? So as of the exchange reported last date, which was released May 10th, which is 2 days ago, they said it was 13 million shares, right? So if you minused out 3.5, that would leave 10 million shares. But they're still reporting short interest at like 12. So like, once again, none of this stuff's perfect. They estimate a lot of stuff, and a lot of times they're wrong. And I've called them out on them being wrong before, and they go, "Oh yeah, it's difficult to calculate these things." And I'm like, "Well, some of your stuff doesn't make sense." So, but yeah, cost of borrow is still high. Shares on loan right now out is pretty high, considering we've got like 28 million now free float, and almost 20 million of them are lent out, and then that makes up about basically 65% of the free float now. So, but yeah, look at this real fast. So these orange bars right here, that's your FTDs, and it spikes up here to basically 10% of the float failed to deliver. This is your exchange reported SI, which is like skyrocketed, right? And then here's your utilization. We've been 100% since March 8th, which is like 60. How many days is that now? Sorry, I haven't been writing DD, so I haven't been like, how many days since March 8th? It's been 65 freaking days straight on 100% utilization. I think, if I remember correctly, GameStop is like a little bit higher than that. But like, people keep saying like don't compare the two, but I'm like, well, it's kind of hard when all these similarities are like glaring. Like, let me see if I pull up GameStop real quick. I'm pretty sure I saw that their utilization was very similar to ours as far as how many days. Here, their utilization has been 100% since February 8th, and we're March 8th. So they've got 1 month on us. So, yeah, but like, this is a long time for it to be 100% utilization. Like, even back here, when it was squeezing before, it wasn't even 100% utilization. Like, there's some crazy stuff going on right now in the market. And they're pretending like it doesn't exist, but like, I see it, like the smart people see it, and they're pretending like, oh well, no, this is no, this is not normal. You don't have stocks that are pinned at 100% utilization for months at a time. Like, that's not normal. You don't have FTDs mounting. You don't have, like, they're doing some weird stuff right now. All right, let's see. Let's get back to some questions and see if I can answer some stuff. But yeah, I basically saw that they basically, it looked like they just walked it down. I saw people in Discord saying that they did something to prevent gamma squeeze on. I mean, they dropped the price heavily, which means that a lot of the stuff that was in the money on the options chains, Hayden, is no longer in the money. Now, it could become in the money, but this is why I was telling people, like, you have to be really, really deep, or else they're going to try to burn you. Like, I wasn't joking, and this is obviously not financial advice, but we were looking at the options chains, and I mean, I guess I could pull up the options chains, but I was trying to explain, I guess it was last week, and let me just go into my notes real quick. Hopefully this is it. All right, this is from last week. Or this is from, I guess, maybe earlier in this week, but this is not the most updated one. But I was trying to explain to people that when you have an OPEX coming up, and you know the market maker is able to really just manipulate the price of the stock because there's no volume right now because the entire market's crashing around us, what you're going to find is unless you're willing to be down here and stacking them, places that they really can't get to, like once again, I think we talked about this, 210 was the previous low. So like $2 should be safe. 150 should be safe, hypothetically. Those are a lot safer because the balance sheet doesn't justify the stock being this low at this point right now. So that would have been the place to be stacking. It still can be. If you look at tomorrow's, if a bunch of people were to buy $1 calls and let them expire in the money, then there would probably be movement next week, at least at the minimum. Mechanically wise, like they would have to do T+2, and so by like Tuesday of the following week, you should have shares having to be delivered if they were all expired in the money and people held on to them and had the market maker actually give them their shares. But, once again, not everyone's doing that. These are expensive, But this is for obviously not the same day. This is the one I think everybody was looking at. And this is not the most updated one. I will do an updated one, I guess, later tonight. But I just wanted to show you guys, like, when I kept saying, like, they need to be down here. And nobody was buying these. Everybody was buying these. And so now look what's happened. Like, now the stock price is right here, and it's below where all the pressure is. Like, there's a nice little gamma ramp right there. It would probably run to like 5 if it got pushed up enough. But there's not enough buying pressure, and there's also not enough deep in the money calls that are threatening them to make it go up. So, let's take a look at what today's is. I'll go ahead and bite the bullet now and just do it. So, all right, let me pull up the options charts. I should probably have gotten that up prior to me signing on, but I wanted to get out to you guys. And all right, so let's go ahead and pull up Aterian's options chains, screenshot it, and yeah, I mean, we've got some, I'm just eyeing it right now, but we got some like $3 that are in the money, or like that will be in the money technically at open tomorrow if it stays above 3. But for the most part, there's just not enough in the money stuff. Like there's not. Like, I'll screenshot it, and that's the thing. Like, if nobody's willing to, get their hands dirty, with the stuff that actually matters, then it doesn't matter, because you can buy all the 3-cent calls for $3.50, but if nobody's buying the $2 and the 150s, and then it will never get to those levels. So that's fine. People are going to spend their money how they want to and buy what they want to, but let's see, what's today's date? And let's crop it real quick. All right. I'll bring it over here so you guys can see. I didn't do my pretty paint I normally do on all over it, but I think you still read it. Let's see if you guys can still see it. Okay, hopefully everyone can see this, right? All right, so right now, as of closing, this is all that's in the money. Like, you've got all these nice things up here. Look at all this open interest just hanging out there, and everyone's stacking these all day long. But it will not matter unless there's actually stuff down here. to make it go up, because you know who's stacking their stuff to the downside? People buying puts, trying to drive the price down. Like, they have no problem buying 250 puts. Look at how much volume they're getting versus how much the call side's getting. So, unless people are selling these 250 puts, but I don't think I saw that on any scanners. So, yeah, so like what's going to end up happening is, unless there's like an influx, like a large influx of call buying that's going to, force them to hedge this, if they actually had like people stacking up these like, these 150s and 2s, that's what would cause movement tomorrow, because they would have to start being like, well, are these guys going to actually let these expire and then demand shares? That one would actually move the price up more and maybe push us into this 3. And then the question is, if all these 3s haven't been hedged, then all of a sudden, do they start having to hedge these 3s? And then these 350s, there's a good amount of open interest there, and then they have to start de-hedging these. And so that's kind of how the whole thing works. But like, if people aren't willing to spend the premium down here, then it will never move up here and kind of run. Because there's a good amount of open interest, up to like basically like, 5? Yeah. So, I mean, you could see, a spike, and then that would be super bullish going into the following week, because the following week right now, and I can pull up that options chains and we can take a look at it. Here we go. Just need to paste it over here. Here we go. So, this is for the 20th, which is next Friday. So, as you can see right here, there is a lot of open interest, especially at the 5, and then also the 750. That's because this was the monthly for May. And there's been... So, I just want to put this in perspective. Like, a lot of the float right now is tied up here. So just let's bring a calculator over just so you guys can see this. So right now, if this goes tomorrow and there are somehow, let's say roughly 23, right? 23,000 contracts, you're looking at like 2.3 million shares at 5 that would be due. Like, once again, our free float's only 28 million now. I know it used to be 26, but it sounds like some institution sold. So let's move the free float up to 28. I'll verify that if I can find out who it was that sold, and then we'll update our spreadsheet. But right now we'll just go off the Ortex numbers, because that's the best thing I have at this point until I can confirm it with some 13Fs. So, if we end up over 5 by next Friday, that means all of this together would be probably at least, I don't know, 1 million. So that would be like 3 million, 3-point-something million shares due if we finish just slightly over 5. I mean, that's a lot. Like, that's a significant amount, because... if we end up, let's just say it was 3.5 million shares, right? Oops. I'll do it this way. So 3.5 million shares, right? 28 million. It's like 13% of the float right there. And remember, we're 100% utilization, so the float's locked. So it would be an additional, basically, like 12.5% of the float. Like, that's a lot. So, somehow made my mouse faster. So, just showing you this, though. Obviously, though, the important ones are down here, because this is the stuff that's not filled up. So, if they really wanted to, what they would do is try to keep the price, suppressed and keep it down here. Like, just pin it down here, and then you would burn so much premium. But I did notice something else on those options chains. And what I noticed was there seemed to be a really high amount of growing open interest in June. And it was something I thought was a bit interesting because I hadn't seen it, you know. There seems to be a good amount of open interest in June now for some reason. And obviously there's June 17th. Yeah, 36 days away. And I'll do a screenshot for you guys and show you. But like it was random. I don't know why, but my guess would be it has something to do with maybe people are playing that executive order. And some people think that's, the game over scenario for shorts. I don't know about that, but I can tell you that this kind of came out of nowhere and it got stacked up. So I just picked up on it today and I was like, I didn't really notice that before. So if you look right here, this is June 17th. Let's see. Is there like a lag on my... Okay, there we go. But yeah, like look at this open interest growing here. Like there's not a lot of different strikes. It's just this is the one for June. But look at that. Like that's a decent amount of random open interest just sitting there, which I hadn't really noticed. So something's going on with that. All right. So we covered options a little bit. So yeah, but that's all they did was they basically pushed down the price of the stock, which meant that all these things were out of the money now. What's up, Tom? What's up, Paul? Maybe starting to Joe. Yeah, there was definitely buying today. So, and what happens is even if they don't want to buy and they have to buy, retail starts noticing. Like notice this, like when we started moving up today, the volume picked up, and that's because retail was like, oh, maybe this isn't over. And that's how retail thinks. Like when they saw, it went down, but then it went straight up and it went up for a while. And everyone was like, is this it? And then people start FOMOing in. So like, that's how retail operates. What's up, Bingo? Game on. 1,000-point rally by next Friday. I mean, it could that there's a lot of open interest on that thing. If somebody was smart and just sat on the stock and wanted to just make a bunch of money, they could. So, Mason asks, do you think the upcoming recession will be severe? Not worry about Aterian. Yeah, actually, I think it's going to be pretty bad. Not by choice, obviously. Nobody wants a recession, but like, I think you guys are going to realize that these guys should have been tightening, and they didn't. The Fed basically made a series of mistakes that I had been calling out for a while. I'm a bit of a secret. Like, this is not realistic. You can't keep going. Like, I've shorted the S&P before when I thought things were a bit ridiculous, and sure enough, they went up more, and so I stopped. And I basically, once it hit like 480, I was like, this will probably hit 5, and that was kind of my mentality. So, and that's kind of the great gauge of like when everybody is like, well, I guess I can't go, you can't, nothing can stop it. You might as well join them. That's like exactly when you should just short the entire market or buy puts. I don't typically short, but I was going to say I would have puts if I was being smart up there. But I was like, I thought they were just going to go for the all-time high and be like, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and push into the 500, and then after that point, that's a nice little number. They can be like, well, the SPY hit 500, but 480 is as high as it got, and then it's been moving down since then. But I did buy some inverse and some like, what was it, SPXU, and I think at some point I'm going to buy, I think around June, like right before June hits, I'm going to buy some FAZ, which is FAZ. this is not financial advice. I'm just telling you like my own kind of plan, because I think these banks are going to be in trouble later on. This is just a random thought I've had, but like I'm willing to buy a I don't know if it's like a 2x or a 3x inverse bank. Like basically when the banks go down, you make money. So that's one of the things I was looking at for, later on. Because I think they've done some naughty things. Cough means tomorrow's going to be a good day. Yep, you're right. I have been coughing, and the stock has been going up again. So, damn it. What's up, Hustle? Sounds like you need to drink scotch. Might as well, right? Had a day. Where do you see Aterian in the next 6 months? I actually see them higher. I think they're going to have their own difficulties, obviously, because there's going to be the recession going on. But I do think they're going to be in a better place cash-wise because of all this eventually coming, this is going to come to a head at some point. So I'm just pouring my scotch. Some of you guys know I have a barrel, and it comes out really slow, though. But in fairness, it's like a spigot, and there we go. They got a little plug up top where I pour it in, and then it's got a spigot on it. But it does fit like a handle in it, which if you looked at it, you'd be like, no, there's no way that thing fits a handle. But it does fit an entire handle. All right. Does OBV look down? Yeah, it all depends on what you're looking at. But yeah, like the OBV had slumped slightly from the top here, and that's because it's also following volume. So it's not just like retail. It's basically like you have to think of it like this. On balance volume is a formula that calculates the price with the volume. And as the volume has died off, that means your OBV is going to... That's on the 1 hour. Here's on the daily. So it's all depending on what time frame you're looking at. Like, if you look at the OBV on the daily, it's different. So, Jonathan, if you were looking at that, the OBV on the daily, it's coming down slightly. But if you actually look closely, it's actually upturning right now as of today. So we could see a reversal and it go back up into this range. So, just throwing that out. What's up, Frodo? What's up? Is it Coupons? Good evening, Mr. President. What's up, Jason? Lex Nader got some 25 $2.50 calls and $3 calls under $1 premium. That's pretty good for July through October. Yeah, those should print for you. That sounds pretty good. How's the conversations going with the SEC? You mentioned you were going to call them. I did speak to them, Laura. Basically, what I was told was I need to submit evidence. So I've been gathering some evidence. I emailed the woman back, and I haven't heard back from them since then. So it's so obvious that the heavy and the money puts are bearish. Since the bearish calls can show the OI, there's a chance they have a lot in the 20th calls or bearish calls. Yeah, I mean, you can't assume that's all, They like to trick retail and make them think that they're all like bullish, but a lot of people sell calls in that range because the IV is probably high. So my 550 calls and 513 will run the money or they expire worthless. Yeah, I mean, I've got some $5 calls. Oh, you're talking about for this week, though. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if there was a spike, you could have tried to roll out whatever was left. But, I mean, now at this point, the theta is going to kill you. So if we don't pop up over probably about $7, those things are basically be worthless unless it depends on when you bought them. Like, if you bought them like a day ago, then yeah, or like, a week ago, then they're probably just, they were already worthless then, or at least very low. But if you bought them a while ago, you're basically at the end. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'm hoping for you that we finish much, much higher. So Laura asks, if you were a hedge fund shorting Aterian, what would your moves be right now and your thoughts? So, all right, if I was shorting right here, this is what I would be doing at this point. I would be trying to scare the crap out of retail by pushing the stock down in like large waterfalls to make people freak out while we're down here in like the 3s and 2s. I would also be running around spreading FUD everywhere, and basically trying to like. So if you notice, as soon as we crossed over like basically like the $3 and then went down, that's when all the people came out of the woodworks and were like bashing the stock. Did they say anything though when it was running like 15% today? No, they were very quiet then. But as soon as it went back down, they were bashing the stock again. They need retail to sell. That's the truth of it. So remember, who owns Aterian? Do institutions own Aterian? No. No, in fact, institutions own very little of Aterian. So everyone that has shares of Aterian, right? They're the ones who actually, and think about this, like all your brokers are lending out your shares. And they're, letting them being shorted all the time. And how many times are they lending them? Who knows? Are they lending them more than once? Who knows? There's a lot of stuff that goes on. But like retail, typically, we don't DRS our shares, so they're not in our own names. So the brokerage can do whatever they want with their own shares because those shares are technically theirs. That's how all this works. And, I'm not calling for everyone to DRS. I'm just telling you guys, like, if you're sick of the price and you don't like this being manipulated, then you can always put shares in your own name. And that's not financial advice. I'm just explaining how that works. Like, this goes for every stock you own. You can DRS every single share you have, which means that, no shorts can actually use your shares for, whatever they want. And your broker can't lend them out because they're in your name sitting in basically a transfer agent or a firm that specializes as like, basically being the intermediary of the market for you. Computer share is one thing, but Aterian has something called Philadelphia Stock Transfer. That's theirs. What's up, bro? Are you a hero again today? Nah, I mean, the stock's not up that much, so I don't think I'm a hero. But someone put up the GME chart and the Aterian chart, and they almost match perfectly. Yeah, I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. Like, there's a reason why these things are very similar. Oh, sorry. Like, we don't need to let these longs hit the market. They will make sure they sell, though. Wait, what? Like, we don't need to let these longs hit the market. We'll make sure they... Oh, yeah, so they push them off the exchange so they don't actually count towards buying pressure, but they do allow the sells to hit. Every sell typically hits, and every, buy gets pushed off exchange. This happens across the board. Do you have an opinion on the probability of the $5? I still have them. I'm just gonna hold them, to be honest with you guys. Like, I'm gonna pray that they get up there and they get high enough where at least I have some money that's in there. But the theta is just absolutely killing me. So yeah. So I think they have a good strategy of using SQQQ shares to minimize any risk. Yeah, I mean, you can always play market crash. If you have enough capital, then you can diversify and, you can add more. You can swing the SPY. I've done that, a couple times. So, yes. Reporting for duty, Captain. What's up, yes? What's up, Spinner? And didn't need a short because the algos were just synced to the SPY. Yeah, so they didn't need to short. All right, I'm at 2,700. Yep. Someone just hit 4,400. Congrats, Jesse. Did our bots and shows give up already? I don't know. Craig's got 7K. Michael's got a meager position of 253. Wow. Your voice is audible chocolate, Anna. Thanks, Lewis. All right. So, just curious, why aren't any insiders buying at these crazy low prices? You would think they'd want to support retail. So, just so you guys know this, I've explained this in the past before, but I'll go over it again. So, typically, insiders are not able to just buy whenever they feel like it. If there's anything that's, for example, considered news that would be, influential to the company, they can't buy. So if they know things that are going on behind the scenes during a certain time frame, it will keep them from actually buying the stock. The SEC actually has like a bunch of rules, and you can read through them on your own, but the CEO of a company can't just be like, oh, stock's low, let me just buy it. Like, they can only buy during certain pockets of the year, and it's all stuff that's been pre-approved by the SEC and cleared with their lawyers and all that stuff. So it's actually a lot harder. That's the reason why when people were talking about like Yaniv had like sold shares, but it was for tax purposes, and they were like trying to like spin it around as FUD, and I was like, you guys don't understand the rules. That's why people do this. But one of the worst mistakes I ever made, and I will kick myself forever about this. Moderna CEO sold shares, and I said, they didn't get approved for the vaccine. And I sold literally, like, I think I had a couple thousand shares of Moderna. And the very next week, or maybe it was even days later, I can't remember. It was so close. But I saw that news and I sold. And like a week or two later, the stock ripped. And I mean, when I talk about ripped, it was like insane. Like, because they got approved for the vaccines, and I sold because the CEO sold, and I missed this entire freaking like high of like 500 a share. And I swear, I don't know, I think I sold somewhere in like this range. And so I ended up like, this was like a couple, like, it was like, I think it may have been like here. When did they announce when the vaccine was approved? Does anyone know offhand? But I freaking missed the entire highs because I followed the CEO, because I was like, well, he knows more than I do. And it was the worst mistake I ever made in trading. And I still kick myself to this day because I missed out on like a 5X because of that. So, yeah. Don't always follow insider trading. It doesn't always give you the best information because you never know. Like that CEO of Moderna, he knew that the thing was going to get like, maybe he just needed some cash at the time. Like, you never know what's going on in these people's lives, and so that was a huge mistake. All right, where am I at? Yeah, some people are getting... So the 23rd day of Reg Show is getting spicier with the Swamp Gators. I mean, it's been on Reg Show for a long time. We're going to be coming up on where we were last time, when Aterian ran last time, and then we were sitting here, and during this time frame, Reg Show had gotten... like started here, and it was, I think it ended like somewhere in here, but we went 29 straight days, consecutive days on Reg Show, and nothing happened. They never made them close out their positions. So right now we're on day 23 coming up, so we'll see. But I showed you guys before, whenever you see those things, there's typically a run, like a large run up that happens afterwards. So it's always a matter of time. Becca's in the house. What's up, Becca? I'm guessing this is probably from like an hour ago, though, so I'm sorry. I'm trying to get caught up. All right, let's see. Luke Sky says, I expect ATER to go down under 3 by Friday. It's possible, but it kind of looks like the scotch is like crossing over there. It looks like our OBV is kind of tilting upwards. We may we may have one more day that's like kind of flattening, so they could try to drop it, but it seems like there's buying pressure right now. Like, I don't know if anyone else is noticing it today, but like when I was watching the ticker, it seems like people are buying right now. And it seems like when, especially like even like this area, when like there was actually buying pressure here. Like there was a large buy candle there. This was all like buying. Even at the end of the day, like there was buying that happened at the end of the day. There was buying that happened in this section. And then throughout the day, you can see these little pockets. Obviously, they bought the most up here during this run. But, it seems like retail is starting to buy again on this stock. Because I think they're realizing that, yesterday was an anomaly and the entire market was just selling off. So, now they're starting to get good prices, and they're like, oh, okay, maybe I can, Some people were waiting, hoping that they would get, like lower. Like I was hoping that we'd go under like 250 and I'd be able to scoop up a ton more, and it hasn't happened yet. So, but we'll see. I'm actually, Shani says for tacos you can show up as late as you want. All right, let's see. I bring home all the homemade tacos for the I will bring all the homemade tacos for the meetup on the moon. Yeah, that sounds good. I don't know what we're gonna do. It seems like this group is growing though, so we may actually have to end up, meeting up in a large city with a lot of hotel room, because might have to rent a convention center for all the gators. Yeah, I messed up and bought $4.50 and $4 calls. Yeah, it happens there, Craig. I mean, technically, I bought $5 calls back when the stock price was like $8. So, and that was 7 months out, and I still have them. So, don't worry, I'm like 25K down on those. It happens though. Tell Batty to call in the money calls. I think he's buying just shares. I think he wants to make sure he's being safe on that. It's up to him though. He can spend his money how he wants, but where's the moon meetup? I'd like to be invited. I'm very lonely. All right, yes, you can come. Nothing's been planned. I think step 1, make lots of money. Step 2, figure out where to spend some money. So Nora says, hello. Hello, Nora. What's up, Aunt? Y'all are going to go broke. You're idiots. Oh, thanks, Aunt. Thanks for looking out for us. See, we got some trolls back. That makes me feel good. All right, good evening. Today was a good day. Who knows what the future holds? Hope more people are catching on to Aterian. I think so. Listen, the numbers keep growing. Like, I know we've had some rough days, but I mean, if you actually look at the metrics at least. Let me go into. We should be able to pull this up real quick. Yeah, I mean, we're almost at 14,000 people on the Aterian. Here's the honest truth, though. So when the stock price runs up, we get more people, because we went from I think we were like 11,000. We gained like 3,000 people within like a week when the stock was running. So every time the stock runs, we'll pick up more people. And eventually we will be, much, much bigger. And I was going to say, I remember there was a time when we had like 5,000, and that was like in comparison. I think like, for example, the BBIG room was like, I don't know, like 20 or something like that. Is that how big they are? I don't know. 26,000 they have. And we have like basically half that. But we're growing. much better than we were. There was a time when we were completely stagnant. So I think people are catching on. Every time people talk about it on social media, talk to your buddies about it, even though they're mad at you for telling them to buy back when it was 5 and now it's 3. My buddies, I just tell them, like, listen, you can either average down or you can cut your losses and be mad at me. So your choice. So a lot of them are like, dude, I hate you, and I'm gonna buy more. I was like, okay, well, you do what you want. But they know that I've been doing this for a while, and a lot of them have put their trust in me, and a lot of the ones we've gone through have done well. So I told a bunch of my friends to buy GameStop at 17, and they were like, why? And I was like, just do it. And they were like, okay. So even today, when the stock was sub 100, they're still up. All right. So Fish was asking, are you saying that our chances of Gamma are limited because of the calls are out of the money? In my opinion, we should be fine as long as there's covering that pushes up over. Yeah, so like I think I showed you guys on the the options chain before, but basically there needs to be at least something that pushes us onto the options chain. And if that's not deep in the money calls, that means that there has to be some like T plus that's sending us up in that range of them cover. They're not going to want to cover into next week. I can tell you that now. Like that's going to be their worst nightmare, is having to cover into that gamma ramp, unless they're the ones that set up the gamma ramp, which is the other piece of the puzzle, which is they know they have to cover, so they're choosing when they're going to do it. Because if they're the ones that built the gamma ramp, then they will be the ones that actually can minimize some of their losses when they start actually having to cover. So we'll see, though. I saw some screenshots of a dude trying to buy it through IEX and getting canceled over and over again. If this is the case for retail, is the options the only way to affect the price? I mean, I've placed orders on the IEX and I've not seen them come across today, and I thought that was weird. But they kept going through, but then I wouldn't actually see them hit the order books. So maybe it was just Weeble's order books weren't showing everything, but I'm probably going to end up buying the level 1, or I think it's called like level 1s, so we can see the MBBO data flow. Yes, says please like and subscribe. That'd be great. Let's see what's going on. And we got porn bots again. I haven't gotten to them yet, but I just put up another window so I could see what's showing. All right, so somebody was asking, we bounced 26% today. A lot of people took profit. People are selling, scared of it going down. I'm holding for tomorrow when they need to cover. Yeah, I mean, the market's overextended right now. They're overextended to the downside. So, I think there's going to be a bounce at some point on the S&P and some of the rest of the indexes. So that will probably be less of a headwind for us. But, I mean, we finished technically green on a red day for a lot of the other markets. So volume. Yeah, volume would be nice. But, it's 3x leverage on FAS. That's what I thought. All right. But that's for later on. That's not now. We got to let their goose get cooked, and we'll do that later on. I plan to buy a large amount next Saturday. May 21st. Do you think I'll make it before Aterian takes off? I mean, can you buy shares on a Saturday? I don't know where you're at, but typically the markets are closed on Saturdays. So, what kind of scotch am I drinking? So, I have my own barrel. It was a gift from one of my best friends for his wedding, and he gave us each a barrel with our names inscribed on it. And was interesting because he actually, I was asking him, I was like, what? You don't even drink scotch? He was like, yeah, I just was looking for something to like give you guys. And he was like, it was like in a catalog of like groom's gifts or like best men gifts. I was like, oh, okay. Or what are they called? Groomsmen gifts. And he was like, yeah, he's like, I don't even drink, he doesn't drink whiskey or scotch. But I'm the only one apparently that's using it. Everyone else has like a decorative piece, but like I actually am using mine. And it's worked pretty well. But what it is it's like some sort of like, I don't even know what wood it is, but it's some sort of like premium like barrel. And what you do is you put in your own whatever you want to age. And so what you do with it, because it fits about a handle in there. So what you do is you can put in something that's like kind of like a medium grade, and it will turn it into something that tastes really, really actually solid. So I get this scotch called Shalig, which comes in a handle, and I like the taste of it. But once I put it inside that barrel for about like 6 months, it ages it like probably like 2 years because it's so small. There's more surface area that's actually touching it, so you don't need as long to age it. So that's how that works. But yeah, it's a cool thing. I like it. Laugh out loud. The Scotch tap seems slow if you're a Marine. My wife keeps asking me what I'm listening to, and then she goes, "Oh, he's got a nice voice." I also agree with this man's wife. Damn, you made me cough. All right. Good stuff, Casing. All right. So the fines are nothing compared to the money they're making off them. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to try to take... The whole point of this is they never cover, and they just hope that retail forgets. But, like, Aterian's one of those stocks that, like, I latched onto, and I thought something didn't smell right back the last time it ran up. And, it was on Reg Show, and then it just magically was able to go down without anyone seemingly selling. And just, it never sat right with me. And all the indicators showed that something was going on. And there's a reason why this stock, before it even moved into the Reg Show, around earnings, when the stock fell below $3 and went down below and $2.50 and pushed the recent low, something was off. And I was like, and right around earnings, we went 100% utilization, and I thought that was super odd. Like, you would have thought retail would have sold off back when it was in the sub 3s, and it seemed, and then we hit 100% utilization out of nowhere, and we've been on it since, which means that they basically ran out of shares before this run-up even happened. And that's when I was like, something's going on here. And there's all the evidence in the world that shows that things are not as they appear on this stock, and I think people will eventually get to see that. The SEC evidence storage, yeah, trash can, right? Do you see a possibility of going back to 6 to 7 next week because of the options chains? Yeah, I mean, it's going to require people buying unsexy options that are deep in the money, like $2, like $1.50 options for next week. If those start getting stacked, that's something that could push that right onto the ramp. And if that's in combination with some equities swaps and some T plus action, and like all these things can add up. So it could be very explosive. So yeah, I mean, it's not out of the question, is what I'll tell you. Becca got the porn bots. What if you own your own shares and buy it through yourself like a bank? Are those shares loaned out as well, since there's no broker or middleman? I think technically if they're holding your stuff, unless it's in your name, like with a DRS, or you have a paper certificate, they loan out your stuff too. The banks do the same thing as a broker, essentially. Logan. All right. It's free to DRS. Brokers don't charge you to transfer them. Yep. Let's see. I thought Becca was the pornbot slayer. She's off her game. She ate too many tacos. Is there a mod for the Discord? We can make some people mods. Here. You know, yes, you've been in here for a long time. You can be a mod too. Here. There. Yes, you are now a mod. Congratulations. You can remove the porn bots. Okay. So, do we still have a chance of a squeeze, or is this longer play now? There's still a chance. Yeah, there's absolutely still a chance. We're still on Reg Show. We're still doing all this stuff. So, like, we got 30 minutes till the new information comes out. It comes out at 11, so we'll be able to see. Bought the $5 as a rip. All I know is diamond hands, and the money leaps are on the menu for tomorrow. Yep, that works too. Keith's got 32,000 shares in holding. Good stuff, Keith. Good to see you. You said your roommate's got a bunch too. All right. I got banned because I was joking around. Good for nothing, Hateful said with that warning. I'd like to get back in. Oh, nothing hateful was said. Do you know what you... All right, just DM me on Jesse Rodriguez. DM me on Discord, and I'll talk to you about it. All right, good night, yes. Okay. Do you think execs can sell once we squeeze? Probably. But I don't think they will. I mean, I think they want to add, to be honest with you. I think most of them would want to, but they may know something that is not allowing them to buy. So, once again, I told you guys, the SEC will keep people, and their lawyers will keep people from buying if they know something that would be detrimental or good for a company. Like, it doesn't matter. It goes both ways, so... Lemon Don says, Anon, my girl says she loves your voice. Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. Why the sync with AMC and GME? So I think Aterian's falling really, really deeply in this category of stocks they cannot allow to actually show how bad they've gotten. Like, there are certain stocks that, like, if you were to actually take a look, like, do we own multiples of the float? It seems like it's possible. Like, we might own, like, the float and a half, or maybe 2x the float. I don't know. It just, the numbers don't make sense. So, we can all meet at the Days Inn at Philly and party it up after the squeezes. Let's all go to Wall Street, Manhattan, or Chicago and throw eggs. Sorry I arrived late. Appreciate your work. Do you have any thoughts on institutional selling yesterday? So I don't know if they sold yesterday. I actually think they sold earlier in May, and they're just getting the information now, to be honest with you, because it's possible that that was an institution that sold yesterday and that one, like, big chunk. But I was going to say, I'll be honest with you, it doesn't bother me. Like, these institutions have been, like, pretty fickle anyway. Like, you know, like, I would be fine if every one of them got out so we could at least just see where we stand. Because, like, they're, like, the wild card in this because they still have at least a little bit of shares. Like, the majority of shares are owned by retail, like, if not all. So, like, to me, they're the wild card that I don't even like having. So, like, I would trust a retail investor holding this stock more than the institution. So that's where I kind of stand on it is, you know, I'm fine with them selling because, honestly, most of them don't want this to happen. Like, it looks bad on the market when you have too many shares sold and all this stuff. So we got 190 watching and only 84 likes. Please hit the like button. All right. So, yes, if you can hit the like button and hit the subscribe, that'd be great. They totally set up the gamma ramp. Yeah, it's possible they did. I mean, they're just looking for a place to cover. So, I'm imagining a barrel scotch that says Anon. Yeah, that's not my name, but yeah, May 21st is my wedding day. Hey, happy wedding day. Happy anniversary to you guys. All right. Chocolate Sauce says, thank you for everything, sir. Drink some more Islay. All right, good stuff. I will. Were you able to catch the last squeeze? Yes. I've been part of pretty much every major squeeze that's happened. What's the record for a stock on Reg Show? It is Overstock.com, and they were 666 straight consecutive days on Reg Show. And that 13-day rule existed back then. I did the math, and I actually talked to FINRA about it, and it was like, how could you guys have let that happen? And they're like, well, that's the SEC that does the enforcement. And I'm like, guys, really? Like, you know how bad that looks that you guys had a rule in place that said 13 days you're supposed to close it, and you guys somehow allowed this to go 666 straight days. Like, what? That's not like just a year. Like, that's over a year. Jeez. All right. Thank you for all you do. Yeah, appreciate it, Mason. Have a great night. Can I get a shout out from my boys? Ponce, Dan, Min, love you all. What's up, Jesse? All right. Yeah, wow. I'll do my best to remove the mean bots. Yeah, you can do that, or the porn bots. Gotta keep it clean. All right. And obviously no one knows you, but what's your prediction for tomorrow? All right, let's take a look real quick. Just eyeballing this, but let's go to like a 1 hour chart. So here's what I see so far. We've been oversold. We got that nice little pump up today, right? This is on the hourly. Right now, if we get some buying pressure to continue into tomorrow, even if we started flat and got some buying pressure to continue, I could see us moving into at least the 350 range. The other thing, though, is if they come out and then we start more flat and we head down, they could be trying to push us under 3 and just keep us under 3, because that's what would burn the most retail options. So both make sense to me. It just really depends on who's showing up tomorrow. If there's no volume, then we will probably end up in like the 280s. If there's volume, then we might end up at the 350 to even 4 maybe. So someone did a DD on the ETFs that were on Reg Show while GME had its big run. I'm not sure how accurate their DD is, but it did look interesting. I did look at that before. Now, obviously, we don't have that much institutional ownership, period, let alone mutual fund ownership or ETF ownership. I think we only have like 4 million shares out there for those. Sorry. Getting tired. But, yeah, I was going to say they were using essentially, I think, XRT and some of the other, like, I think IWM and some of the other indexes to, like, basically, like, so here's the thing about the ETFs. You can actually, like, disassemble them and, like, pull out stocks and then reassemble them. It's like this, you can basically, like, short everything that's in that basket, but only really short one, because you go long on all the other things, but you can basically use those, like, shares to basically short. And they keep getting creative. And they're coming up with all these different, like, basically, like, loopholes to basically keep short. You know, it's the same way they drop the stock when it's on, you know, you can't short on Uptex. Well, that doesn't keep you from shorting an ETF that holds that stock. So Russell and, yeah, the XRT, yeah. So I was going to say, same things for the, do they have to deliver a amount for each T plus? So, yeah, that's not quite how it works for the FTDs. they can cover any time before that date. They don't always have to cover on that date. So that's something people need to realize. Like, say for example, there was, like 400,000 shares that were due on a date, right? Well, they can cover any time before that date. So it could have happened 10 days ago prior, so you never know. But yeah, usually yeah, I got to go to bed soon. Normally I can hang out a little bit longer, but I'm getting tired today. I don't know why. I know, right? The infinity liquidity and ETFs, yeah. It's. I mean, this is amazing stuff. Like, I mean, it's almost impressive how like many loopholes there are, because it's like they came up with everything. They're like, yeah, well, if we can't do this, then we'll just find another way. Like the fact that they're still using payment for order flow, which was invented by Bernie Madoff, like that's incredible. Chicago, everyone come to my place, and then we fly to Florida. All right, Keith, let's do it. We got a bunch of places we can go. Party all up and down. I was going to say, if this really does run, though, we have to find someone that's got a boat. Big old boat. All right. Yeah, payment for order flow is disgusting. It is not a good thing for our markets. So they need to eliminate that. They need to eliminate a bunch of different things. And this, like, I did meet with a woman who is running for Congress, and actually Senate, I think. She wants to be a senator, and I met her at this networking thing that I did last night. But she wanted to know, I hit it off with her. We did some shots together, and I was talking to her, and she used to be a reporter in our local area, and now she's running for Senate. So I started talking to her, and I was like, my main interest is I've been writing our Congress or our senator for a while, and I never get any response back. And I was like, obviously that's disappointing, because I would like to talk to them about this stuff. And, she was like, oh, well, I'd be willing to listen. She's like, I don't really understand most of this stuff. And I started kind of breaking it down for her in pretty simple ways. And she's like, oh, you should you should definitely get with me about this. She's like, I'd love to hear kind of if you can write me up something. And I was like, I'm happy to do that. So I don't know if she'll win or not. She's going against somebody that's, been there for a while. But we can give it a shot and see if she does get elected. Then I've been doing shots with a young senator, and we'll see how that goes. Is there an actual meetup I need to get a passport sorted out? I've never left Canada, but this would be a good reason why. Yeah. Y'all coming out to California. I'll get you the boat. All right, good stuff, Hustle. Good stuff. Yeah, Bernie Madoff made off that money. He kind of got caught. So Bernie Madoff actually turned himself in. He was not he turned himself in because he knew that the noose was tightening. But the fact is, he turned himself in to try to get a better deal. That the SEC didn't catch him live. They basically started doing evidence, and he was just like, I'm going to try to see if I can get a good deal if I come and turn myself in. That's almost infuriating. Really? You guys couldn't even nail somebody that you had all this evidence on. Come on. All right. Do I think anything about the June 3rd executive order? Well, I can tell you right now, I looked at that option chain, and somebody believes that something's going on there, because there's 5,000 in each open interest on that option chain, it looked like. So somebody definitely believes something's going to go on there. So who are we talking about? Were you talking about, I'm not going to get the name of the senator or the potential senator, but I did a networking event and hit it off with this. I guess she's probably in her, I guess, maybe early 40s. I guess maybe, but yeah, like she was nice. All right. Anyone else got any more questions, or I'll go ahead and cap it off, and then we'll see how tomorrow goes, and then obviously I'll try to do maybe a recap. But I will try to get the DD out tomorrow. I promise I will. If I have time in the office, I'm just going to knock it out, and that way we have something going into the weekend that people can read over, and I would try to get some of the stuff included from the balance sheet and all this new information that we have. So, all right, guys, good night. Thanks for hanging out. Like always, I'll go ahead and finish with, I'll put the link to the Discord if you haven't been in the Discord, if you're not part of it. It's actually pretty cool. Obviously I'm biased, but I think there's great people in there, and I think that there's a lot of people learning and sharing their knowledge with each other, and I think it's a good place. It doesn't cost anything. It's been free the entire time, and we're not looking to really change that. So, here we go. Here's the link to the Discord. Good night, everyone. Good night. And then if you guys want to, you're more than welcome to. I do have a Patreon account. It's not required, but let me see. Where is? I guess I changed around the page. Membership, maybe? Huh. They changed around how this looks, and now I can't find the... That's weird. Man. I'm like... I don't know what I'm looking at now. Let me see if it's on this one, maybe. Nope, they definitely changed it on the page. Okay. Let me figure out where this is now. Because they used to have a thing where I could just link. I haven't posted anything. Notifications. I don't even know where my own Patreon link is now. It's funny, I can't even find it. Let's see. Come on. Where's this thing? Create. Oh, wait, here we go. I think I found it. Inadvertently. Here we go. You guys could probably find it faster than me. Wait, no, that's not it. Missing half of it. There we go. I think that's it. Let me see if that works. Finally, there we go. All right, you guys have a wonderful evening. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll go ahead and meet up tomorrow. Hopefully, I might hang out with a friend of mine, but we'll see how that goes. So we may not stream tomorrow, but I'll definitely do something on Sunday night. But I'll definitely put out the DD tomorrow at some point. So, all right, thanks for hanging out, guys, and everyone have a great evening.